It's the time to get down.
Here we go. Good morning. It's Monday, July 8th. It's Brandy Flores, and I'm your host for Morning Coffee. There is no Mario today. I'm so bummed, Victor. Mario's not here today. But I have an amazing guest, Michelle Ellers, who created an amazing app. It's mysexulator.com. So we are going to talk a lot about that this morning, right?
Absolutely. Thanks, Brandy, for having me.
Oh, thanks so much for coming. I'm excited to have you. And just me and you. I love girl talk. Yeah. I love my days when I don't have Mario here. It's all about the girls.
Poor Mario.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, Mario. It happens.
Well, you know what? Let me do something here to pay respects to Mario for a good reason. You know, I always say this. He's always on the trail. Good heart. Taking care of what's most important. But I know that you take advantage of these opportunities, don't you?
I do. I will be here
all the time.
In a hot second. Hosting my own show here on Morning Coffee at Pack Stereo. Monday, July 8th. Okay, so I've got Michelle here, and she created mysexulator.com. So why don't you go ahead and tell me about how you got started in this, and we'll go through, obviously, and look at, it online, of course.
Sure. No, it's great. It's something that's really fun, and probably about 5 years ago, I started off with doing mobile apps. So I've always been really into technology and loving different gadgets. And iPhone came out, and I was one of those first people, in line to get my first iPhone. And then all of a sudden, the apps came out in the App Store. And I thought, this is really cool. And let me check it out and see if just, Joe Schmo down the street can do an app, or if it has to be, a big corporation, and how it works. So I started looking into it and found out that really anyone can do an app. So went in and thought, what could I do for my first one? And ended up doing a women's travel website that I ended up doing, and started off with the first mobile app to kind of test that out, and just fell in love with doing apps. And then, so now I've done 49 mobile apps. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, and so one of those, I was actually sitting on my couch one night, and I thought, I want to do an app that is fun and sexy, but something Apple would still approve, and we all know that Apple has really strict guidelines. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, what could be something that would be fun and that would have to do with sex be sexy? And I thought, what about, and I thought back to a situation, a light bulb went off. It's like one of those moments, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this would be really cool. So I was the first one to do a mobile app that tracks and calculates your sexual activity.
Okay, question for me is, I know obviously I've looked at the site and I've figured out, I think it's good for anybody, whether you're young or old, to keep track of your sex life. So were you married, and did you not have enough sex? Because I know a lot of my married friends don't have enough sex, so this is great for them to keep track of that. You get to,
Exactly.
You can go, oh, honey, we had sex last week on Wednesday, so don't tell me you haven't had sex for a week, because I have it right here. I tracked it.
Exactly. Well, when I was sitting on that couch that night, I thought, the light bulb that went off was, I thought back to one of someone that was really close to me and had an argument with her husband that night about how much sex they were having. So he was complaining, we're not having sex enough, and she's saying, what? We have sex, almost all the time. Are you kidding me? So she was upset, and she said, I want to show you something. I've never showed anyone this before. And I thought, okay, this can be interesting. So she pulls out, she goes to her closet and pulls out a physical calendar. For years, she had tracked everything, every time they had intercourse, had done anything. And I said, you need to show this to him. And she said, I think I will. He came home, she showed it to him, and he was just flabbergasted, couldn't believe that was keeping track of it, but he actually felt so bad and apologized and said, I had no idea that we were having sex this much. So the argument stopped about how much sex they're having. So, it's like one of those things when you look at it in front of you and you see how much you're having, or, where improvements can be made. It's just like fitness or counting calories. You keep a track of it.
I totally agree, because it's the same thing you do, especially I come from the fitness world. So
Exactly.
you keep track of what you're eating, and you keep track of when you're working out. So why are we not also keeping track of our sex lives?
Thank you. That was exactly my thought. Yeah, and as you know, a lot of people don't realize for, food or whatever they're consuming or what their fitness routine is until they're looking at it in front of them. So like you're saying with married couples, I find that a lot of times, not always, typically it's the husband who's complaining that they're not having enough, and the wife saying, what? We have sex quite a bit. So when they're looking at it and they're tracking, they can't argue about it anymore.
Yeah.
Done deal. So then start communicating about it, and, open up those lines of communication and look at how much sex you're really having. And, then you can go from there and say, let's try new things. And it just opens up the floodgate for a lot of people.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I did have one girlfriend that's not having any sex, so she told me, why do I need this? Why am I going to keep track of when I'm not having sex? And I said, okay, so that's why you need to get on here and start having sex, right? You need to keep track that, yes, you didn't have sex, so you need to have some sex.
Exactly.
Now, I got to represent the men here because we got some men in the chat room, and we're going to chime in while you guys are doing your
Yes,
bonding.
okay.
So we're not PMC. He says no app needed. Macport Townsend Washington says, this should be an interesting show. He checked his Sexulator, and he said he recommended that he should buy a jigsaw puzzle. So here's my question. I just want you to understand. They're going to actually say the motivation for this from a man's perspective, because it sounds like the women really find it's like a diary, right?
Yes, and inside the website, and everything's private and safe, by the way. So it's not like Facebook. It's not like you're going out and advertising that you had sex, 10 times last week. So it's
that is what does get tricky, though. If it asks if you're logging in through Facebook, are you sure that Facebook is not keeping track? And then all of a sudden, it's going to wind up on your Facebook wall that you logged. You did something dirty.
It's not. I promise. If it does, you can hold me responsible. I promise.
You're like, oh, I told the whole world I did that yesterday.
Exactly. But so to answer your question, it is like a private journal. So, you go in and you log in and you create, your events. So you're tracking your events. So had intercourse yesterday, with so-and-so. And for all those people that have multiple partners, you can go in and you can add partner. So
I saw that, and I like that because when you're younger and you are having multiple partners,
exactly,
you want to be able to keep track. Was it Bob yesterday? And
Fred the day before.
Wait a
exactly.
What about the guys who's going like this? I ran out of gas last night. Should I mark that down?
What kind of gas? A little blue pill?
Yeah, maybe that's what he needs to mark. I didn't take a pill today, and I need to take one tomorrow.
See, the part that I love I love this part about it because there's a lot of realism that come in with men. Mm-hmm. We think of protecting because we're always going to be, every note I put in there. Whereas women can go through experiences that say, this wasn't a good day. Can't have that with the man. He always want to say, it was a Lion's Day today. Every day, right?
If a man had sex, he should be saying he had a good day. Like, period, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. It was a good day. I got some.
Oh, you know what? Mac, Port Townsend, Washington, PMC. You see, I'm by myself in this room. So I'm just letting y'all know I need wingman to help me. Keep it going, Brandy. It's all yours.
Exactly. Well, welcome all of you in our chat room, Mac, and who else do we got here going on today?
You got PMC.
PMC and Max.
Yeah.
They're always here. They're always with us. They're our little stalkers that we keep here at Pack Stereo.
Should I be scared?
Well, they will ask you some very poignant questions. That's all. See, and and for a lot of people, I think, where do you believe this will be more of a benefit? Married, young, single, older, mature? Where do you think the real benefits for tracking is going to?
You know what? I get asked that question a lot. I think it's all over the board. It really is one of those things. Exactly. It's, it's for different reasons. So for married couples, keeping track of it, seeing how much sex they're actually really having. I've had people that have reached out to me and said their sex therapist recommended the site because they can actually keep track of it. And then if they wanted to provide it, to their therapist, they could look in and see, what they're doing. But then, when I was, when I go back to the mobile app, so when I first started off doing that mobile app, and it was called Sexulator, and so that was sold through the App Store, and it took me 6 months to get that approved through Apple, and that was so much fun. So I put that up, and I just got a really amazing response from users saying, thank you so much. I had different husbands that would email me saying thanks so much. Where my wife and I are having more sex than we've had since we've gotten married because she's obsessed with upping her averages, because you get your stats on it. You go to the stats page and you get your calculations. You pick, what event of sexual event do you want to calculate? And you pick your start date, your end date. Do you want your weekly, your monthly, or your annual average on it? And then, it will give that to you. And so, college kids, when I was doing the mobile app, they were, going nuts over it. And they were using it more as bragging rights. So,
wow.
Their buddies, hey, I'm getting more of this than you. And so that was with the younger crowd, And then also on, the more serious side of it, for women, they're trying to conceive. You can track your ovulation and your cycles and, for all over the board. Or maybe men that do have multiple partners. For example, there was an article that was written, and it was called the Professional Athlete's Best Friend app for, having sex with
Many
multiple people
partners.
for, and, for women
Right.
that come back and say, I'm pregnant or this or that, and you can look, and little do they know they might be tracking everything, and they could say, well, I don't know. So, it's all over the board. And people use it for serious reasons to help their marriage to get out of a rut. A lot of us know that people and a lot of times in long-term relationships get in ruts, and it just keeps it fresh. You can try new things, and when you see it in front of you, how much you're actually having, spice up your marriage life, keep it fresh and try new things, and surprise your man, surprise your woman.
Yeah, and you're always having sex. So, once you start having sex, you're always, so it's a good thing to keep track of it. I totally agree. Whether you're going to be 20-something or you're going to be 80-something, you're going to want to keep track. Whether
fun.
you've had lots of sex, a little bit of sex, what kind of sex.
Exactly.
What do you like? What type of sex?
Exactly.
What is your favorite type of sex?
Exactly. What do you want to try new? And then also, so when you go in, and so let's say you enter, whatever event it is. So there's different attributes to every event. So you can we have protection in there. So you could track, okay, I had intercourse. This time there was no protection. This time there was protection. There's pill assist for, the people that are taking Viagra or Cialis or anything like that. So you could track, maybe someone is curious as to, okay, maybe it's a man who's in his, 50s, 60s and is taking Viagra, and he could look back and go, okay, well, over time I'm using it less, or who knows, maybe he's noticing a trend of, when I was with this person, I was needing Viagra a lot more. With this person, I'm not really. So you notice trends that you wouldn't even think about before. It's really interesting.
Sometimes there's some trends you want to forget.
Like the trends that aren't working when it's not working for you. That is funny.
And I want to do this real quick. I know we jumped right into the show. I couldn't wait, but you call yourself a serial entrepreneur.
I do.
Give me some background on that when you say serial entrepreneur.
Sure. To me, and a lot of people, that just means bringing multiple ideas to life. So I am very, very passionate about business and love bringing my ideas to life. That's where I really thrive. So, whether it's, the women's website that I, created and built and sold, to the 49 mobile applications that I've done, now to this web app website, mysexuality.com, different things that I'm getting ready right now, working on raising capital for a product that I'm going to be bringing to life. So serial, meaning doing multiple things. So, I'm kind of one of those idea people, and I have my list and I prioritize it and decide, what do I want to work on next? And then I formulate and get everything together to do that and build the right team of people and bring, the right people on board and go from there. So that's what I'm really passionate about. I love it. It's
All
fun.
of that and a single mom.
Yes,
look,
thank
this is
you.
Fun Day Monday.
Which, as we know,
Yes.
is the
Right.
hardest job
This
in the
is
world.
Fun Day Monday with the single mommies.
That's right, exactly.
And you get to, and as Abraham Lincoln always said, we run this bitch, right? So,
Exactly.
all right, here's a question for MacPort Tiles in Washington. I have to do it because they put it in there. He says, what do you consider kinky sex? Now, I'm going to stop you right before you answer this question. Now, I want you to understand, Mac is a setup man. I got to do this, man. I know you setting them up. So,
Is there a section,
Right.
Michelle, that says kinky sex?
Yes.
We need to go to the page.
See, my whole thing is he's going beyond that part. He's saying, I need to drive the bus and then keep the bus running, akin to running out of gas. So men approach things so different. We go like,
Sure.
it's amazing that we're not the analytical ones when it comes to this. So there's some benefits I'm already hearing from what you're talking about. In other words, you actually want to be motivated to say, if I'm being tracked, I better step my game up, right?
Do you want to be a sexual underachiever with your partner?
Yeah, most men don't.
Most men don't.
That's funny.
Okay.
That's a good one. Okay, so let's go to the site really quick here.
Got
I know
it.
Victor can show us what's going on here.
There you go.
So do we want to go ahead and log in, and then we can kind of, or we want to scroll around and you want to tell people what we got going on here?
Sure. You know what? Let's go ahead and log in. We're going to show the.
Yeah, no, what was it again?
Yeah.
And they're both with capital.
Yes, exactly. So password.
So we're going to log in with a username and a password. That's it. Oop. And we're working. Are we not working? What? I'm not working.
No. Okay. Let me see.
So what they're going through right now,
well, there you
they're
go.
logging into the app. And we already put the, you know what, Max, stop. We've already put the link in the chat room for you guys. So if you actually want to go over to it, it's mysexulator.com. You can actually pull up a tab while you're watching the show, and you can follow along in what they're doing. They're actually doing the login. I think the biggest part about this is it's people making sure that they actually know that they exclusively have privacy. It's
Got it.
100% safe. So the part I like about this, it should work out.
Whoa. Okay, so somebody had anal with Patrick. I'm not sure if we logged into a fake one or a real one, but someone got lucky. So you can keep track of what type of sex you have.
Exactly.
Yes.
So if you go to click on today's date, so you can go to add.
Like today. Okay, so we're going to click on
Sure.
today.
Click on today. And it goes maybe
Double
it's
click.
in there. Sure. It's weird with me not doing it. So go ahead. Maybe click on even.
Okay, go ahead. You wanna click? Go
yesterday's
ahead.
Date. Let's see.
Let's use the clicker.
Oops. Okay. So go there. And
There
then,
we go.
So exactly.
Okay.
So to add an event. So for example, you can see there's multiple events that you can add.
So, Mac, you can add intercourse, oral, self-service, hand job, massage. Oh, you could, your ovulation, like you said. A lot of women want to keep track of their ovulation.
Exactly.
A kiss. I'm not sure many people want to keep track of kisses, but backdoor, toys, petting, threesomes, and your cycle. So women, I mean, for women, this is great because you get to keep track of your ovulation, your cycle, amongst your sex life. And
Exactly.
Did you use toys today
Everything.
or not?
Exactly.
I mean, you got to get the toys out sometimes because that keeps it exciting.
Keep it, spice it up. Exactly.
Exactly.
Try some new things. Go shopping and bring some. new
And then
things
if
up.
you're younger, we can click over to partners.
yes,
And then you can scroll down and drop down and you could choose your partner.
exactly.
So far, this person only has one partner named Patrick.
Got it.
If you have multiple partners, do not let them know your password.
No, that's not exactly, and it will not be on Facebook. No, it won't. Exactly. And then when you go to add an event, then you'll get a drop-down menu of different attributes. So,
Okay.
you can put different. You can put what position. You can put if it resulted in an orgasm. You could put if you
that's
used
good.
exactly if you used lube, toys, pills. Protection. So, and it's fun to look at it. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from people that a lot of the fun they've had with it is noticing trends. So, one woman had responded to me and said, my husband, I never realized it, but funny because we never have sex on Mondays or Tuesdays ever, but they never think about when they have sex. But then when they looked back, they thought, oh, that's funny. We never have sex on Monday or Tuesdays.
Well, that's because Monday's usually the day where you're getting back to the grind. You're kind of
exactly
tired,
it.
especially if you have kids and a family. It's like, oh gosh, it's Monday. I got to get my kids to school, get things going again, and you're
Exactly.
exhausted.
That's
So
absolutely, and that's funny thing too is that you probably know too a lot of the health benefits of having sex are amazing.
Just having an orgasm alone. Yeah.
Exactly, that climax of that. I mean, increased energy. It decreases depression. It helps
Yep.
you sleep better. It actually takes pain away. So. I kind of laugh, the old school saying about the woman saying she has a headache. Her excuse is, no, not tonight, honey, I have a headache. Well, the funny thing is, climax, the whole sexual experience actually will help your headache go away.
Yeah. No, I know
Yeah.
this. It does help for everything. Depression, your headaches. Except for me, like if I'm in a migraine state,
Yeah.
it
If
takes
it's that
away the
bad.
pain for a little bit. But
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
still going to
If
hold
you're that
on to the
bad.
pain.
Exactly.
But other than that, I totally agree. I mean, it helps for
Yeah.
everything. People should be, especially women, if you are having any problems, if you're depressed or you're not feeling good, you're feeling like
Exactly.
something's wrong. Just take
Definitely.
care of yourself first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're going to feel better.
Exactly.
Okay, so here we go. You can keep track of your stats, like she said, and then do you have a links to other?
We do. So we have a links page with a lot of really great, recommended sites anything from sexual health, definitely the sexual education section to dating advice, marriage advice, a couple dating sites that we recommend for, all kinds of things. So it's really good, very resourceful that would, go along with anything dating relationship, marriage related, sex related. And then we do have a blog, and we have a forum. And so the way the site works is it is subscription based. So, but we do have a free version. So you could sign up and track intercourse for free. And then if you wanted to upgrade, then you would pay for the premium membership. So it goes at $4.99 a month, or $19.99 for semi-annual, or $29.99 for an annual membership.
Okay.
And then you get to, go to the forum, and then that unlocks all the features where you can track everything on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no, that's a good price. I mean, if you're, obviously if you're getting more sex, it's worth paying to find that out and keep track of everything that's going on.
Exactly. It's interesting too. I've had a lot of different guys telling me that they started off with the app and showing their partner kind of as a joke. Like, let's just see what happens with it. And then they get into it, and it starts off kind of as a joke. And then they say, oh, well, let's really keep track and see where we're really at. And for pretty much almost everyone, they end up having more sex. Goes back to the whole thing of just tracking and seeing it right in front of you and how often you're having it.
And it's kind of like playing a game too, where you, like you said, you realize, oh my gosh, we never have sex on Mondays, or oh, we always have sex on Fridays,
Exactly. Then maybe play a game and say, okay, let's shoot for every Monday night, even if it's a quickie. Let's just go at it real quick. And,
Like for a while, I always thought, okay, hump day is supposed to always be on Wednesday, and that's your hump day. And I always joke around like, okay, it's hump day, let's have sex. You always have it once a week, because you at least go, oh, it's hump day.
No,
Let's do this.
Now, I, of course, you know me. I always ask those out of the box questions. I truly think things like this have a energy of their own. I actually can see this for all the good reasons that you said, because it is a great thing. I think it could turn into the people who want to have a bitch session. In other words, they're going to get in there and start putting in the stuff. And you know how Twitter turned into something from the kids and the adults made it to something else. This has all the earmarks that it could take it to another place, because I hear relationship talk in here. I hear things that made it happen versus just happened. Is that possible, you think?
Definitely. And like I said, it goes back to so many people using it for different reasons. And if I had to put it in one statement, it's that it opens up communication for couples. So, a lot of people, when you first start off in a relationship and it's fun and you have that excitement and that passion, it's peaking. And then a lot of times it, dwindles off as the relationship goes along. And then, sadly, they say that, it's like 55% of Americans are dissatisfied with their sex lives for, people in long-term relationships. So, look at where you're at, and just, it opens up communication is the key.
Right.
So start talking about it. And then even if it starts off as a joke, like I had, people emailing me and saying, I showed this to my wife as a joke, but she really got into it. And looking at her bar graph on there, she wants it to be higher. She realized, and then what happens is all the benefits from having more sex just make you closer in your relationship. So it really is relationship.
And I get that too, because especially, women, and if you're not having sex, they always say somebody's out there looking for it somewhere else. So it is good to keep track of that. Like, I always know when I was married, if I let a couple weeks go by, oh boy, was he crabby. And I just knew in my head, I was keeping track in my head how long it had been.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you'd been like, oh, honey, look, let's go to our webpage or whatever, and let's see how long it's been, maybe you need to like they said, up your averages. Let's get a little more sex going. I'm a little crabby today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try something new.
Yeah.
How long has this been in development, would you say? I mean, when did it first kick off?
As far as the actual, web app here for the web platform for mysexulator.com, we just launched it about a month ago.
Wow.
So a little over a month ago. Yeah. So, what happened was, like I said, I did the mobile app, and then I got a really good user response and a great response from the media. And everyone would, just like for anything, users always go in and tell you, we love it, but we want this, we want that. So I had a ton of people saying, we love it, but we want to track this. We want to see a bar graph on this. We want to track, self-service. We want to track orgasms with the sexual event. We want to track position. We want all these things on it, and we want to, get everything. So I thought, what? Well, there is no way that Apple was going to approve everything. So I thought, I'm going to do my own thing and make it a web app and create the website where, then you don't have to have a smartphone to use it. Anyone from around the world could use it, and, you're not limited to just the App Store.
Okay, so you still have the app at the App Store at iTunes.
The original app, exactly, which is Sexulator. And so that one sells for $1.99. So that is I consider that kind of the beta test. So that's been out for about 3.5 years.
Okay.
So so then it evolved into this and started doing mysexulator.com. So that's where we're at.
Now, I don't want to repeat everything that Mac is saying. Some things are just not appropriate. But he says, 911, I need help. Oh, my goodness, my head is spinning. He's saying all the things that complement this app, but I just want to turn it into something that's more PG rated, okay?
Sure.
So, for the most part, I think the part that's happening here is what makes this interesting is the freedom that you're having this discussion, that you are an entrepreneur who sees the benefits of this, and that, for the most part, sex is only part of it. It's really a lifestyle that's already existing, and you have bundled it into an app. So it's not saying that you're adding anything. It's already there. You're just finding a place where people can. Memory is a wonderful thing when we remember the last episode and not the things prior. So, yeah, I think it's a great
Thank you.
app.
I think you nailed it. And like I said, they have the diary feature, and I think a lot of women, I mean, I'm sure some men do, but a lot of women like to journal everything and track. So you have a romantic, weekend getaway, go, write your details on it, journal it in there, and then you want to reminisce later, sit down, however, whether it's, a year down the road, sit down with your partner and look through and read it and recapture, those moments and reminisce about it. So yeah, it's fun to look at that.
So can you share, obviously in the blog section, you can share what's going on in your sex life with others, or how does that work on the website?
Well, you could go to forum. And so on the forum, exactly, if you wanted, any sort of, maybe to share a good experience, or maybe you want some, different tips or advice. Exactly. So at the forum page is where you would do that. So the blogs have great articles, and we're also on Facebook and on Twitter. So you can follow us there.
And that My Sexulator on Twitter and
My
Facebook?
Sexulator, exactly. So it's all mysexulator.com and there.
How long did it take to come up with the name? What names were you bantering about until you got to My Sexulator? Or did it just hit that word and took off?
You know what? That night when I was sitting on the couch and I thought about doing the electronic version for that app, it just hit. It just went off. I thought, I'm thinking, okay, it's a sex calculator, it's a sex tracker. Sex you later. Yeah. And it just, and then with this site, we decided to do mysexulator.com. Felt it was a little bit more personal because it's their own. It's your own sexual, calculator calendar place. So that's why this is mysexulator.com.
Right. Got you.
No, I love this. So can you invite someone to come into your page? So if you're sharing it with your husband, you're just going to use it, you're going to log in and use the same username and password to log in together? The
same. Yes, if you want to share the account. Otherwise, if someone really wanted, a husband could have one account and a wife could have another if they wanted to, maybe. But
then that might cause fights, because then they'll be fighting over my averages are different than your averages.
Exactly. Who's right? I agree. So do the one. But if you could just give someone your information if they wanted to go into it, but it's not technically really inviting someone into it because it is a private, safe space.
Okay. No, oh my gosh.
Yeah, yes, I'm going to let you do all the apping. I call it the apping because she's so good at clicking buttons. Brandy's so good at that. I get to be in the ballroom here where I go okay, I want to come away from here and say, you know what, guys, let's go get this out. And I have to turn it into some talk here that's different because I don't see for men, I know they're going to find it really good for younger men. You said it. I think they actually use it for a whole different reason.
I think so too.
Older men need a different motivation. You know that. We can't think diary, so I'm right now thinking about it. Now, watching the chat with Matt, I said, see, this is what happens. We tend to take the words you do and turn it into something else. So here's my question to you. Are you getting more men that are of a younger age, middle age, or older really endorsing this app, if you had to break it down?
I would say mostly middle-aged.
Okay.
I would say middle-aged and younger. So, since we just launched this actual site, like I said, just about a month ago, so it'll be really interesting to see. Everyone has their own opinion on who is going to be the biggest niche. So, for example, you'll love this. So, a lot of people think the swingers community what might be the biggest. Because they are having on there, you could track
what couple you like to swing with.
Exactly. And there's, I don't think we mentioned too, we have the rating. So you can rate your experiences. So we have every experience you rate it on a 5-star system.
Right.
And being that you can track multiple partners. So with swingers who are having multiple partners, they can track everything. So, and then some people think it will be the gay and lesbian community. That might be the biggest. And a lot of other people think, no, it's the married crowd who are going to want to, track everything to help improve their relationship. And then some people think the college crowd. So it's so interesting. everyone has their own opinion on who, but I get swingers a lot. When anytime swingers are hearing about it, they're all over it.
Yes,
they are so excited. It's not even funny. So yeah.
Well, it's because it lends to the mentality that they're open-minded already.
Exactly.
And they're not inhibited, and they're actually saying more, let's celebrate more. It's a community that, for the most part, they have their own community. This becomes their Facebook or Twitter, so to speak. And I can imagine the stories. You can probably write films from the content that can come in there, but it's private. We understand that. So, yeah, you make a good point. I can see the swingers eating this up.
Definitely. And like you said, they're already, in touch with everything and open. So, it's, for so long, sex has been, and I would say in the olden days, it's definitely becoming more open now, but such a taboo subject. And, just kind of now it's becoming, so much more open to talk about pleasure, and it's okay to have pleasure, to give pleasure, and it's good. And the benefits, like we said, the health benefits alone from sex are amazing. No, so, okay, I have to tell you this too. You're gonna love this. Okay, so here's a good stat for you: men who climax 2 times or more per week have a 50% less chance of mortality than men who climax 1 time a month or less.
Well, I think it's also because they're getting a workout. Like, sometimes I think my boyfriend does not get a workout in at all unless we have sex. So, I mean, right? He's like, oh, I just got my workout in. I'm like, thank goodness.
What would you do without me?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Wait, oh, don't say that. See, you already thrown him under the bus.
That's
okay,
funny.
This is a question.
I always do that.
Okay, I'm just the messenger.
Yeah.
Max says, what would you recommend for a 73-year-old black freak? I'm sorry. I'm just a messenger.
Keep track.
Or maybe he could reach out to me and I'll help him build a website, 73yearoldfreaks.com.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll get him going on, his own app. So tell him to email me.
Exactly. Oh, no, I wouldn't say that. He'll be emailing you later.
Yeah. No. Mac is going to take it to heart and say, okay, all right, I'll be following up with you. And just to give you guys, you may not know Mac. Mac does his own retro blues and jazz station up in Port Townsend, Washington. So believe me, he's very professional, but he understands this. And if I was in his position, I'd be right now plucking your brain until you have to leave this studio, period. So my first pluck is, can you really tell the truth about the older men, which is kind of they need help. They need more than this. They need Viagra. See, I'm going to say it. My bad. I apologize, but what helps them more, tracking or Viagra? I'm only asking the question.
I was going to say, like you said, like Michelle said, is, you're going to keep track of, was it a half pill today? Or did you need a pill? Yes.
Exactly.
How many pills and what pill? The blue one, the pink one? Which one are we taking?
Or maybe you only needed the little blue pill with, these partners, and then you found a partner that maybe you didn't need it with as much, So, I think it's just depends, on the person. And there are, tons of older men that don't need Viagra, and then there are some men in their 30s who do. So, it's all over the place.
Well, Hugh Hefner, for one. Now that he's actually married, I'm just thinking about this. He can keep track and of the days he used Viagra or not, or, I don't think he has any multiple partners anymore because he got married again. But, yeah.
Like I said, the first thing it lends you towards, really for the people who are going Facebook became such a open thing about people and their relationships, and when they started putting stuff in there, it became more of a haven to find out more about people who maybe didn't know what you're talking about. I look at this as the same, even though it's private. I actually sit there and go, I can imagine somebody that I'm seeing, and I'm in the room, and they're coming by, and I say, yeah, go on in the kitchen and get something, but they don't know I'm on my Sexulator. As soon as they look over my shoulder, they already are going to make it guilty. What's my Sexulator about? So the part I'm looking at is all these other things that come in. So I think it's one of those things that generate wonderful stories. Not that it's not intended to help and track. I just see the idea that, Brandy, if you were sitting there and you didn't know about this and you looked over the shoulder of your boyfriend and you saw my Sexulator, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I'd be like, what is that? Well, what are you doing? My Sexulator. Who are you talking to?
What is that?
Let's see.
Am I the only one on there?
Yeah. I'm going to check your multiple partners list.
Yeah, And you know what's so good about it is that I think it's great. I think you could almost have an ongoing show with this. It's the part that you actually can have stories about why are you going on there. We know the good reasons for it, but I know I would feel the same way. Here's my girl. I never knew anything. I go in there. I never get to see her diary. And then she's on my Sexulator. I can't help but to think, you should tell me about it first. Don't let me see it over your shoulder. So I think it's just wonderful things that you get to have stories going on and on.
Exactly, and it's so different for everyone and how they go about it and how they find out about it.
Yes.
And it's fun. And, you know, when I was doing just the mobile app, you know, I was telling you a lot of people were emailing me and telling me what they wanted and what they wanted to track. I can't even tell you how many emails that I received from people saying, well, I want to know where I stack up with other people my age, with other men my age, or with other women my age. So when you go to the stats page on mysexulator.com, when you're you can either look at your own stats. And
that's only if you're upgraded. Is
yes,
that correct?
exactly.
Right.
So with the
Right.
premium membership, so you go to your stats page, and you could click on comparing it to everyone else that's using it, that's using the site as well. So you can look on, you know, women your age and see how much they're having of different events. So click on intercourse for men that are, you know, 45 to 50 years old, and you can actually see, you know, if you're kind of stacking up within the average. And, you know, I mean, it really boils down to obviously being happy. It's, you know, what is good for you and your partner, what works, whether that's one time a week or 2 times a day or whatever. But a lot of people wanted to know where they compared with other people. They were so curious as to, okay, we've been married, you know, 20 years. I'm wondering, you know, are we having less sex than, you know, people our age, or are we right up in there, or are we freaks, you know?
This is exactly something that's going to stand the test of time, as they say, because you are, like 20 years from now, you have the same partner, you're going to be wondering, are we keeping up? Are we doing good? Or how are we feeling sexual, you know, with our sex life? And,
exactly. And just looking at your own situation and, saying, are you happy? Or, you know, and I think, you know, trying new things is so important, and spice it up. And that this has given other people, you know, to a lot of people, you know, the events we have on there might be obvious, you know, but to some people, they're actually not. Some people really, you know, haven't even really used any toys before, you know, in their sexual experience with their partner. So it's kind of like, oh, you know, go make a trip to the store and get some things, or, you know, just different things to try new things.
No, I believe that, because a lot of women too, as you get older, if you haven't used toys yet, or you're not experienced with toys, you know, they might get on here and they might see, oh my gosh, all these women my age are using toys, or they're logging that they've used a toy, and they're wondering, oh, maybe I should go to the toy store. Exactly. Let's have a toy party.
Or like, am I missing something? What am I missing out on?
My girlfriend is not having sex. I'm all, we need to have a toy party. You know, let's get going here. You know, let's start keeping track here. Use my Sexulator.
Exactly. Or your friend that said she wasn't, you know, sexually active right now.
Yeah.
So I had so many people that had emailed me saying, please put in self-service. So that's where we did that. You wouldn't believe how many people said that they wanted to track.
And then women can also realize that that is so normal to have your self-service.
Exactly. It's so normal. And a lot of people just don't want to talk about it, but it is so completely normal.
Yeah.
So
I think it's an eye-opener. And I want to ask you a question about the app itself.
Sure.
Everybody, those who don't understand apps and how they're built, they're going to always say, well, somebody has to control the app itself and all the information. So somebody gets to see something because there's the developer, the designer. How do you go about addressing that? Are you able to give them the security of knowing, no, your information is pipelined in. They never really see it. They don't have access to it. I know you're going to run into that question. How do you deal with that?
Exactly. You know, it is very, very safe, and it's definitely not something out there where people can go grab. And it goes down to when you're producing or making any sort of software, any sort of app, you definitely want to work with the right people. And so, you know, I went up and I found the right people that I wanted to build this particular app. And then once it's completed, everything gets, you know, signed over to me, and you can go back and you can even hire, you know, independent people to come in and look just to make sure everything is secure and whatnot. So, you know, it just boils down to us having, you know, an IT person, just like any website. I mean, it could be, you know, it's just like any other website out there that, as far as, you know, it being safe, but, you know, you definitely want to have that trust. And we do. And I was very careful with, you know, the way that everything was programmed and designed and everything like that, and the people that I brought on board. So now, it's very safe.
I have to ask this because I know Brandy's going to chime in on this. We always want to know, without giving names, the wildest story somebody volunteered to you about this app as it relates to them. Because people always volunteer. They always volunteer information. So has there been a wild story that you've heard?
You know, it's interesting. I think when a lot of people, if they talk to me in person about it, a lot of people actually start to get a little bit shy. Can even tell you how many faces have turned red. People start talking about it, and all of a sudden they look like a tomato. It's so funny. But, you know, I haven't heard any over the top crazy ones. You know, some I would say that are normal within the swinger community. It just, you know, multiple, you know, partners, group sex. I had some college kids. I was at I have a friend that owns a bar and was going over to the bar, and they started talking about, oh, what's your favorite app? And so I didn't tell them that I had created this app, and I just said, oh, you know, at the time it was just the mobile one before this one had launched. And, you know, I said, oh, Sexulator. And they're like, what's that? And they immediately pull it up and they buy it. And the one guy, it was so funny, he hits his buddy in the arm really hard. And he says, dude, you get the most blowjobs of all of us. You know, you have to track this, and, you know, you're the one bragging about that you get more of this, and you're always telling us how often you're getting this and getting that. And the other guy's like, well, I get more than this than you. And they were going on and on about, you know, bragging about who gets more of what. And this is so again, that goes back, that's the college crowd.
Yes, I was going to say the younger kids who want to keep track of, oh, I'm beating, my stats are better than your stats.
Yes, exactly. That's like the 18 to 20, you know, 1-year-old.
Or the girls who are having multiple partners who need to keep track of who they were with, you know.
Exactly. Or like when I was putting all this together, so then I had, you know, again, back to that single mom thing, and we rely so much on babysitters and whatnot. And I've always had sorority girls as babysitters, and was telling them what I was doing, and they were freaking out about it. And they said, we have journals, we track everything. And, you know, it was funny, we were kind of laughing about the tracking of the kissing. There are these sorority girls who have, I mean, I swear, like almost all of them have journals, and they track, you know, kiss this boy at this party this night, and they're rating his kissing. And then they say the next night, you know, had, you know, this experience with this guy, you know, and had this date, and they're tracking everything.
Yeah, because when I was younger, I could see that. Now that I'm older, I really don't care to track my kisses. I would want to be tracking all the other things I do.
Same
but
here.
I could totally see that. That's
with the younger crowd, exactly. Maybe the girls are 18 years old.
Yeah.
We're tracking, you know, just down to the kissing. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to throw that in there.
Yeah. Why not?
Exactly.
Why not give them one more thing to keep track of?
Exactly.
Now, does this put you in a position where people start looking at you like a counselor? Because you're in that position now where you're talking as if you're really familiar with sex therapy, but it's really the information that people are providing. Do you get approached for that in some instances?
I do get approached for it, and I tell people, you know, quite honestly, and I'm not a sex counselor, I'm not a sex therapist, I'm not a sex expert, you know. And one thing that I've always been really big in is holistic health, and, you know, having a healthy life, you know, about everything, you know, what from, you know, to fitness, nutrition, and sex is just one of those aspects of it. So it's the, you know, the holistic of being healthy about everything.
Like you said, it's a lifestyle. Everything, like even the fitness and health, it's part of your lifestyle. Like a lot of people, just the same thing, don't think, well, I don't really need to be healthy, you know, or they wait till they're 50 and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to start being healthy. Well, it's a lifestyle.
Exactly.
It needs to start when you're younger and you continue on. Just same with it's your sex lifestyle.
It's so true.
Exactly.
Now I'm going to do this because, Mac, I'm going to help you right now. Because
Mac is saying some crazy things in the chat room, Mac. Mac, if you're 73, how are you even thinking these things?
Wait a minute. Mac is a chatter. He supports us, and I want to give him his just due. He said, let me chime in on the BJ question. I'm 73, and I have never had a BJ. Will this app convince him that you will now, if you use this app, convince him, Brandy, that days are all gone by. This will change him.
Well, he needs to find a woman who wants to use the app and get competitive.
Exactly.
Right?
Someone who wants to up their averages and try new things if they're into that. So, exactly. Maybe he needs to get on some, you know, dating websites.
However, I'm pretty sure there's not one for bestiality. Do you have a link for bestiality?
No.
I'm sorry.
No,
Mac.
But there are people who use, there is the whole community of people who use animals, so you're kind of like...
Yeah, we're not going there.
No.
We don't go there.
No.
There is a community for everything under the sun,
Yes.
but not for this app, exactly.
No.
This is to help,
I'm blown away by it. I am. I'm more than I expected. I expected something different. Very good.
Interesting. It is, like you're just about to say, it's mostly boils down to helping relationships. You know, if it's a tool, I just look at it like a tool. You know, people go to therapy as a tool.
Yes.
People, you know, have all different tools. Use it as a tool and see what, you know, what it can open up your eyes to. You know, and like I said, so many people, married couples. I had, actually last night I had a marriage therapist who had emailed me and said she constantly is hearing within her couples that she's counseling, they're arguing about not just how much sex they have, about what sex they're having as well. You know, what type of sexual events, and they're in there arguing about it. So she's like, this is fabulous. This is amazing. You know, she wants to tell her, you know, clients, use this. You can't argue anymore. It's right there in front of your face.
This is perfect. You need to get out to all the therapists out there, all the marriage family therapists that exist, and, you know, get in their face and show them, like, look at this. Let's keep track. We have on my Sexulator. Because you do. And
exactly.
Once you get into a rut with someone, you know, maybe he likes missionary all the time, but you're sick of it. You've had enough missionary and you need to move on to something a little different.
Exactly.
Brandy,
Yeah.
are you sharing something with us right now?
I was just saying, it happens.
She's
you know?
just saying.
I'm just. Well, I figure if Mac is volunteering himself, he's doing more volunteering than we need. Skydiving, secret fantasy, getting a blowjob while he's jumping out of the plane, the whole thing. I'm just letting you know.
Wow,
this
while
is
jumping out of a plane. Right. Wait, how old is this man?
73.
That's
You
in
go,
his
Mac.
dreams. I think in the dreams he was having these, yeah.
Now, you know what
Yeah.
the part that now has anyone, because there's the conservative side. We know that there's a conservative group of people that just need to have the lights off, and they will probably spend the rest of their lives in the dark and never look at each other with the lights on. We know that. Have you had any pushback from people who say this will make people do what? Have you run into that at all?
You know what? There is definitely always that conservative group. I haven't really had any sort of pushback from it. I had one person that said, you know what, I'm not so sure because I wouldn't promote the multiple partners. But that's just not realistic with, you know, in today's day and age with a lot of people, you know, in the dating world and out there in dating. And, you know, obviously there are a lot of people who are in the dating world who, you know, save those sexual moments for someone they're in a serious committed relationship with. Of course, there's a lot of people like that.
Right.
But there's a lot of people who are not and do have multiple partners. And, you know, it could go back to, you know, what if someone were to, you know, quote unquote, accidentally become pregnant? Or what about the whole STD thing? You know, I mean, let's say that, you know, I would hope, and we definitely are, you know, big, you know, pushers on safe sex. I mean, that's so important.
Yes.
But for the people that do not practice safe sex, and what if they come down with some STD, you know, whether they would choose to reach out to other partners that they've had, you know, and let them know, hey, this, you know, that's up to them. But if someone, you know, really wanted to, they could at least go back or, you know, find out maybe if they, you know, did unfortunately contract something, maybe who it was from, and reach out to them or to other people and say, I apologize, you might want to go get tested. You know, I would hope that they would do the right thing. And again, we definitely promote safe sex, but, you know, so there's multiple reasons.
No, I totally get that. Especially a lot of the, you know, younger generation. If they start when they're younger, then they can keep track of it. And then when that ugly question comes around, when you have a new partner, how many partners have you had? You're like, oh, let me just check my Sexulator.
Exactly. And what's that big lie about men and women lying? They say,
Oh, goodness.
they deduct, you know.
Yeah. It's always double, triple,
It's
whatever
double,
you
triple,
say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For women, it's like double what they say. Or
Men is like quadruple.
yes, exactly.
Whatever they tell you.
What about, now I noticed that you have something on the website, affiliate. You have an affiliate program with
Thank
this,
you.
don't
We do. I was going to bring that up. So we created an affiliate program. So, you know, let's say that there's a dating website or an adult toy site or any kind of site. You could sign up for our affiliate program, and right now we're doing a 50-50 revenue share. So, you know, let's say that you know, have you know, a dating site. You would put our banner up on there, and then for all the business that goes through it, for people that are clicking on the banner and signing up, they would receive 50% of all the revenue for
Okay.
it. So it's a really great way for other people to make money too. So, you know, there's all these sites out there that are, you know, already, you know, really built up and have a lot of visitors, and, you know, why wouldn't they want to also make some extra money too? So it's a win-win for everyone. Affiliate programs are great, and we have
yes,
we
totally.
have a great setup for that. So definitely, if anyone out there is interested, email us and reach out to us, and we can get you set up with that.
Can they go straight to the website or just contact you, direct contact, or go to the affiliate link?
I would say you could go to the affiliate link, or you could reach out to us on the email on the contact us page off of mysexulator.com.
I see market share. I'm chiming in.
Exactly. If someone already has a site with tons of visitors, slap that banner up there and make some more money. It's great. It's a win-win, like I said.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Brandy, do you really want to reveal anything we need to know before you start your My Sexulator profile?
Nope.
You don't want
Just one partner, so I don't need to use the multiple partner section.
She's keeping it private.
Okay, well, hey, is there anything else we need to know about this program as it relates to your endeavors, or are you venturing into other areas outside of this as well? Because I see this one as being the one that's going to work. I really think it's going to.
Absolutely. We definitely believe this is something that will go viral, and what we're looking at, doing, multiple languages and other things as well. So,
that's a great idea. Yes,
exactly. It's going to be, it's really fun, and it's all about the journey. And like I said, I'm so passionate about bringing my ideas to life. It's fun. I love it. And, I have a lot going on, but it's all fun. And I'm a big believer in you do what you're passionate about. And so, I believe that this will go viral, and I'm really excited about it. And, when I started off, I thought, if this could help even just one couple, then great. And it's already helped many couples. There's been people that have been reaching out already saying, thank you so much for putting this up. It's helped open up our eyes to it and open up our lines of communication about our sex lives, and so thank you. So it's been interesting.
Well, it's definitely one thing that we love here at Pack Stereo is bringing on women who are entrepreneurs, and they know what they want, and they're very passionate about what they do, and they love helping others. That's a big thing, is helping others.
Definitely.
And having you here to let everyone know that go to mysexulator.com and keep track of your sex life, and your partners.
Exactly. And thank you so much for having me. I mean, I'm so excited to be here, and and so I have other different things I look at doing. Like I said, I'm, looking at different, projects to raise capital on. So there's a couple different things that I'll be doing. So I'm very good at project managing and multitasking. It's that single mom thing.
That's awesome.
What we do.
I'm a good multitasker, but my problem is I have so many ideas in my head. They just kind of float around in my head a little too much, and they don't actually get anywhere.
Exactly. And that's so true. I mean, so many people have tons of ideas, and you just have to prioritize it. And then, it's all about execution. It's, do you have, the drive and ambition to, put this idea actually, to put it to work, and then it needs to be executed properly and bring the right people on board and really go after it. But I think anyone who is really passionate about anything, stick with your passion, and when you do that, everything else will follow. The money and everything else will follow to support you to do that. And I've just always been really entrepreneurial ever since I was in junior high, and knew that I just wanted to work for myself and build up different, streams of income and a passive income where, and it's all about being happy. If someone's happy, going to work 9 to 5, sitting at a desk, then awesome. Do what you're passionate about. Yeah. For me, my kids are my top priority. So I wanted to do things that allowed me that flexibility with my kids, and I wanted to be able to pick them up from school and, be at all those practices and games and do all that. And, then I could work from anywhere based on what I do. I mean, I could technically be sitting on a beach, in Fiji and
that
working.
Is exactly what Mario says. I'm sad you missed Mario, and Mario does the whole thing. He's an app developer too, and he does all that stuff. But I mean, that's his thing. Let's be able to work from wherever we want to work, from the beach, we're on vacation, we're with our children. I mean, that's always my first priority is my kids too. So they come first, and then all my other ideas come second, third, fourth, fifth.
I'm right there with you. Exactly. And you said it very well.
Well, let me ask you this. I know I probably already touched it, but I'm now thinking, because Mac has already put me in that reference because he's one track. So when you said keep track, that made me think of Mac. Okay, the best way to get men to jump on board with this, and just by the language, because I know you would talk different to women, but to a man and say, man, your Q score is going to be high on this one. I could use up all kinds of language and say, man, you need to check this out. I'm telling you right now, man, your performance, how you roll, man, you're going to think you're doing like this. It's up here. How would you roll to get men in their language?
What is funny is now that you can screenshot everything, and you could post it on your Facebook page like, hey, look at me, I kept track of what I've been doing, and then take a screenshot, and then you could blast it out to all your friends on social media, right?
Very good.
You
very
could,
good.
exactly,
See?
absolutely.
Look at my averages.
See,
Exactly, you could. And then, back onto the whole safety privacy thing, that's the reason why we didn't have where you would upload photos of partners, because
Right.
someone could screenshot it and then,
Yep.
put it out there.
Yeah.
So that's why, we're keeping it clean. So it's fun, it's edgy,
Yep.
it's sexy. And, I knew going into this that it's pushing the envelope a little bit. And, I'm just edgy myself, and my personality want to try new things. And there wasn't anything out there in the world like this. And so I thought, I'm going to bring this to life. And I knew that we were in between two industries, pretty much in between the mainstream and what would be considered the adult industry. But this is not technically adult industry at all. It's not pornographic in
That's
any
right.
way, shape, or form whatsoever. It's very clean. It's just that it's sexy and edgy. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I come from this place where I said, your thoughts really tell the truth of what you are. Whether you exact it out in any form or not, I agree with you about people being caught between the conservative, absolute privacy. This is not really about that as much as that people have always been thinking a lot of what we're talking about to this day. What we're getting is more people who are open to expressing it. People have always had the thoughts that they've had.
absolutely.
It just was taboo not to share it with
To
anyone.
talk about it.
So I always say that's the hypocritical time you're in that says, oh, back in the old days. I said, no, in the old days, you guys were wicked. You just didn't tell anybody and you didn't share it. So I applaud you for this. I definitely think you're in a direction where most people are going to be who's stuck in that old way. But for the people growing up now, it's the expression that they feel that, well, we talk like this every day.
Exactly. And like I said, the fact that it's private, you just have your own thing going on. Whether you're in the dating world or you're married, it's private. You could choose to tell your friends about it if you want, or if you don't want to ever tell anyone about it, then you just don't. So it's their choice.
And don't let them look over your shoulder if your app is open on your phone, Vic.
That's right. See, the first thing I think about is what happens because, people found out a lot when mobile cell phones came about. You were thinking about having something on the go, just like this app. Use it on the go. People didn't think that people would actually go in and start looking in their phone conversations and chat and everything. That became really big, that people saw, oh, yeah, I've seen the conversation. So it's an extension of a freedom that people feel they have. So I always say, look at what happens beforehand. I would definitely have to tell my significant or somebody, let me tell you first about this, because imagine having it up on a page. And you never say anything. The first thought that's going to go to them. So there's this other side. So I think of all the conditions. Watch out for the freedoms, because a lot of times, stay close to the people you are. Be honest, forthright, trusting. There'll be no problem. But don't have nobody looking over your shoulder. It's the first time. Oh, no.
So don't be on mysexuality.com while you're at work. You're in like a little cubicle and you're logging it.
That's right.
If you can even log into it at your work, if you could.
Yes.
No, these days at
That's
work,
it.
you have to be. Everyone's
Yes.
keeping track of what you're doing on your computer. So.
Exactly.
That's why they have apps.
Thank goodness
That's
we all
why
have smartphones.
That's it.
Exactly.
This is Mac. I'm not going to ask her that. She says, "Vic's not okay."
Okay.
Okay, I'm not going to ask her that. That's
scares me a
done.
little.
I know. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna leave it
That's
alone.
what happens
Thank
when
you.
you're older. You get a little more. You get excited and you
Yeah.
ask the crazier questions.
Clearly, Mac's on it today. Yeah.
Now, what we want you to do is tell everybody where they can follow you if you're on social media. Let us know, and we can take it from there. And Brandon, we can close out this show and get those
right.
wonderful pictures of you guys, because I can't wait.
Great. Thank you. Absolutely. So we are on social media, so you can follow us on Facebook and on Twitter at MySexulator. Go ahead and search us in. Just type in MySexulator and you'll find us. And the website again is mysexulator.com. And go and sign up and have fun and spice up your sex life and, just live a great life all around,
Okay, so what about Instagram? Are we on Instagram?
You know what?
I'm thinking we should just post pictures of like what you should do today. I know, I always throw it out there. So, you could post some, today was no lube or today.
You know what? I think we are. In fact, we have our social media girl that's working on that, and we're also on Pinterest as well.
Okay.
There you
So
go.
yeah, so we're all over. Yeah.
Brandy,
That is so funny.
I always wait for those moments.
You
where
know, I come up
do.
with the crazy things.
I like
Michelle,
it.
I am so happy you made it here. You came all the way from San Diego. I'm so excited you got to be here and join me and have girl talk,
you.
relationship talk, my Sexulator talk. It's July 8th. It was morning coffee. Mario, we missed you so much, but we know you're busy taking care of your family and friends.
Definitely.
Doing what you need to do.
There we go. Hey, it's been a blast, you guys. So, hey, we're about to get out of here. That's our show. If you've learned anything, please drive carefully. Be safe. Have that app tucked away. Keep it real. It's been a blast. You guys are wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Definitely.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
We're done. We're done, you guys. Got to go. Peace. Blessings.
Peace out.
Gone.